Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Joe Ellis, and today we're talking about traveling with your Olympus gear. Let's get into it. Okay, so I have taken, I think, 4 separate trips in the last month with camera gear for different assignments, and while I'm getting a little worn out of being on a plane, I had the thought that maybe it'd be fun to talk about some tips and tricks that I have for traveling with camera gear, and maybe we can get into a discussion in the comments about different ideas and we have to kind of save the pain of getting your camera gear from one place to another and working with it on the road. So the first thing I want to tell you is that, of course, travel varies wildly among different types of work, whether you're a landscape person going on an around the world trip or traveling to shoot a wedding on the road. Is going to vastly change what you're going to carry. But I do think that in terms of dealing with airports, dealing with bags, getting through security, being on the road, processing images, backing up images, that a lot of that remains the same. So hopefully something I'm going to say today will strike an interest with you and give you an idea on how you can improve your life on the road with your camera gear. And I just want to stop to appreciate for a second that I have 3 bags in front of me, and none of these bags is overweight, none of these bags is oversized, and I have 4 camera bodies, 10 lenses, I have microphones, I have tripods, 2 of them, light stands, modifiers, a laptop, and all of its accessories, all packed into these bags. So the first thing is that my primary bag for all of my assignments, whether I am at home or I am on the road, is my Think Tank Airport International. So let's take a quick look at that. It's mostly the camera gear that I've gone over in past videos. So if you want a really detailed look at what's in here, you can go see that. I'll try to link to it up here. But quickly I'll go through it and then we'll also talk about these other 2 bags here. All right. So the thing I love about the Think Tank Airport International is that this bag is purpose-built for dealing with overhead bins. Think Tank makes 2 roller bags, both of which I've owned, which are the Airport Security, which is slightly larger than this bag, and then this is the Airport International. This is the version 3, and I have version 2 of the Security. They have locks built into them, which allows you to lock it to something. But what I really love most about this International bag is that it is purpose-built to pass the test for fitting into overhead bins on almost every airline and every flight you're ever going to take. And so that gives me a lot of peace of mind that I'm not going to have to deal with somebody telling me that this won't fit. Now, I still have anxiety about getting on board a plane and getting a space in the overhead bins. So my other bag, which is this Think Tank Airport Essentials backpack, is one that I've made sure fits in the seat space in front of me. This bag, however, does not. It has to go in an overhead bin. So I will do whatever it takes to make sure that I have early access to my seat so that I make sure that I have overhead bin space for this camera bag, because I will absolutely positively never check this bag. I won't gate check it. I won't let it out of my sight. It carries all of my essential camera gear, and I'm just not going to take that risk. So if it came down to it, I would plead or beg or be as nice as possible, but have the stewardesses help me find a way to get this bag in an overhead bin. I've never had a problem because I'm pretty good at making sure that I have that. I'm there in time. I don't deal with it, but it is essential that you do that. So this is the Think Tank Airport International. And in this bag, carries the bulk of my camera gear. Just looking through here, you've got things like my 2 EM1Xs, you have my 3 main zooms, which are the 7-14, the 12-100, the 40-150, the 3 1.2 primes, which are the 25, 45, and 17. And then over here, one of my favorite lenses of all time, which is the 75 1.8, and the fisheye sits on the bottom. So that is the bulk of my cameras and lenses. I carry 2 backup cameras with me, but in this case, in this last assignment, I was shooting video and stills, so these 2 cameras became my primary video cameras for this last assignment, and that includes the Pen F and my probably all-time favorite, which is the EM1 Mark II, which is just like the best jack of all trades camera. So I have both of those stuffed in there. And then on the other side of this bag, I have 2 strobes, and I choose to put my bigger strobes in here. These are the 8200s. I have 2 of the 8200s stuck in there, and of course the X Pro O trigger. Another essential that I have in this bag, of course, are my card wallet, but is all my spare batteries. And I like to use these little extra bags. These are Lowepro branded, but I think all the camera bag manufacturers make these now little gadget bags that hold little extra pieces of equipment. This one holds all of my batteries. This one from Think Tank holds my AA. This one from Think Tank holds my SD cards and has a tether, so I can tether it to my person. And then on the top of the bag up here, I keep my little doodads, which are things like tripod plates, Allen wrenches, posts, like those studs for putting lights on stands and things. So I really have a great kit here. In the lid of the bag, I've got a spare iPhone cable, a little ball head, cleaning equipment, gels, polarizers, neutral density filters, and business cards. So all of this is essential equipment. It all fits in the overhead bin, and it does represent the bulk of the equipment. Now, if you fly like Southwest, for example, which is my preferred airline because they're hubbed in Dallas and they give me, free bags and there's none of that hidden fees. And I know that sounds a little bit like I'm, advertising for them, but honestly speaking, I pay full price for all my tickets, of course, and I just find that it is the easiest way to travel for me out of Dallas is on that airline because I don't have to worry about getting my gear, and having all those extras. One of the things I think is really worth thinking about if you're going to catch a flight on, Delta or United or American or whatever, is you need to add in what it's going to cost you to get those bags to and from. And that sometimes can be up to $100 per one-way trip. So if you add in $200 extra, for example, to your ticket price, maybe you'd be better off going with a different airline. So do consider all those hidden fees. Now, the second bag I have with me, and this is critical, your second bag, you've got to make sure that this bag will fit under your seat, be able to shove under your seat properly. And the reason is that if you're like me and you fly Southwest, for example, not every time you get on board is there going to be enough room for both of those things. Plus, it's courteous not to take up all the overhead bin space. So I like to put this one under my seat, and this one houses my laptop and all of its accessories, along with things that, believe it or not, don't fit in this roller bag. So the first thing here in the front of this bag is my laptop. And this Airport Essentials bag is rated for a 13.3-inch laptop, but I find that both my Apple 15 and my Dell XPS both fit in here just fine. So that's the top of this bag. And then inside here are a few of the extra things. I have extra flashes. These are my on-camera flashes. I have my video light, which I use not only for shooting stills, but also, of course, for shooting video. In this case, I had to bring both my 12-100 and my 12-40 with me because I needed a standard zoom both for my stills camera and for my video camera. So I have an extra one of those. I have my audio equipment, which we've talked about before, but that includes the LSP4s, and I have my lav mics for miking up bride and groom or talent or whatever, and those fit in this kit really easily. I have two shotgun microphones that I had on site for on top of the camera. Now this is almost always scratch audio, backup audio, but includes the Rode Video Micro, and then my favorite one, which is the Sennheiser MKE 600, which fits in here, which is this longer battery-powered shotgun microphone. And then some of my favorite stuff here, my Rogue stuff. So I have two Rogue flash benders that go on top of my flashes and allow me to work in dark locations. These can be folded and bent and used in all kinds of creative ways, but they strap to the top of your flash and then give you a nice big source for bouncing light. I have my Rogue Flash Grid, which I only carry. I have two of these, but I only usually carry one. But these guys will strap to a flash and give you a nice narrow beam of light. It's configurable for different, tightness of the beam. And then also in here, I have a power bank. If you travel at all, you know that you're really reliant on your phone when you're on the road, way more than when you're at home, whether it's dealing with maps or Ubers or just watching videos while you're on a flight. Having a power bank is a really essential piece of kit for me. So this one here is large, but it also can power my laptop. So think about that as you kind of plan your kit. Having a power bank is certainly something that I would definitely plan to have. And then, of course, also in here is like a cleaning blower for camera equipment in case I need it. And then, of course, my laptop's power supply and a mouse. And, of course, one of the things that I would encourage you guys to travel with is anything that you use on a regular basis for retouching or working with your photos, if you'd like to post photos on the road like I do, then I think it's worth thinking about bringing that stuff along. So although it's a luxury item, and I don't have it here because I've already plugged it back into my computer, I tend to bring my Wacom tablet with me on the road. And I know that's an extra thing to kind of have along with you, but I find that posting sneak peeks or doing dailies if I was working from an assignment and being able to retouch in the exact same fashion that I do when I'm at my home computer is certainly something that I love to do. So think about that as you're kind of planning how much bulk it's going to add and if it really is an essential part of what you do. I don't retouch a single image with a mouse. I can't stand it. So I think that having that along certainly helps me. So, okay. So that's the two bags I have on board. One of them fits under the seat in front of me, and the other one fits in the overhead bin. So I'll close those up. I do have one other bag with me that holds camera gear, and this one does get checked. It's actually a bag from Enduro, which is the tripod manufacturer for my tripods. So this actually came with one of my tripods, which is great. And I love this bag, and it does hold some great stuff that I use on assignment. Although, again, nothing in here is absolutely 1000% mission critical. Could I get away with, having my wife, for example, hold a video camera while I shot stills if we were down to it, or hold a flash if I needed to instead of having it on a light stand? Yeah, we probably could. We wouldn't like it, but if our bags got lost, we could at least keep working. But that being said, one of the tips I have for traveling is I love to pack smaller bags inside larger bags and then reconfigure things once I get to my hotel room. So this bag holds all of the chargers for the cameras and for my flashes and things like that, except for one. I carry one camera battery charger in my main bag. And I think that is smart because, again, if this were to go lost, I wouldn't want to have to try and find a battery charger while I was on the road. But like battery chargers 2, 3, and 4 and things like that, they all go in here. Okay, so this bag is the Think Tank Hubba Hubba Heine, which is a terrible name, but this is a great bag. This bag can be used with this included shoulder strap. It can be used as a waist bag. It has a waist belt pockets back here, and then between the stretchy pockets on the front, the zipper pocket here, and the main compartment, you can hold a ton of micro Four Thirds gear. And point of fact, if I'm carrying 2 camera bodies and 2 lenses on me, I can carry 3 extra lenses in here, or 2 extra lenses and a flash, plus my extra batteries, plus my card wallet, plus my keys and things like that, all in this little bag. So that makes for a very lightweight sort of setup when you're working on the road. Okay. Another tip I have for you guys when you're traveling is that you might consider packing a power strip. I find this is essential for any camera, for any hotel room that I get into, because I have to plug in 6 or 8 things if I'm working for more than one day. So the power strip just allows me to kind of get that done efficiently and create my work center all in one part of the hotel room, instead of having to wander around the room to find 6 different outlets to plug in my various chargers and things. This is the windscreen for the Sennheiser microphone, so I just kind of stuff that in there because it's bulky. One really essential piece of kit that I just have been loving is this softbox from Rogue. So this is the large softbox from Rogue, and what I love about this is it straps to all of my lights. It straps to my smaller ones as well as those 8200s. It offers a small softbox in terms of light quality, but it is bendable down to flat, and it packs so easily. It comes with a grid, and you can shape it and have somebody hold it. And man, has it been just a wonderful source of light while I'm on the road. Whether I'm shooting headshots in Chicago or doing couples portraits at a wedding, this has been a really great and easy thing to pack. And you can actually take this, which comes in a bag, and I can stuff it in the top of the airport essentials if I don't have my laptop in here, and then it's out of the way, along with all of my other flash modifiers. They all fit in the top of that bag in the laptop sleeve. So that really condenses things down. And then, of course, in here I have sort of the grip equipment. I have the Manfrotto Nano stands. These are pretty ubiquitous among photographers that travel. I think these go up to 8 feet and have been pretty great. You know, they will blow over in the wind, so have a person hold it or whatnot, or if you're inside, these will work great. I do wish they were a little bit taller. Every once in a while, if I know I'm shooting large groups or things like that, I'll bring a 10-foot stand, but you are adding a significant amount of bulk and weight if you go up to that size stand. And then also in here, I have 2 Enduro tripods. So I have 2 tripods in here, and in this case, each of these tripods was dedicated mostly to shooting video, so that I could you know, have 2 different angles of the ceremony for the wedding I was at in California this last week. But again, if I'm shooting on assignment in a different city, if I need to do live composites or I need to do group shots or anything like that, I find tripods can be a really, really nice way to work. And then last but not least, I have one of these adapters for Godox lights that I just keep in here because it just allows me to quickly place the flash in here and angle its direction and whatnot without putting stress on any of the threads on the tripod. So that is my travel gear, guys. I've got a list here, so let me just run this down, make sure I've kind of said everything that I think is worth saying. So find the right bags. And of course, my bags are all Think Tank, but there's tons of great bag manufacturers. I really love their stuff though. And I find that having a bag that fits under the seat in front of you is a critical piece of kit just in case you, you know, don't have that much overhead bin space. Rolling bags are just a great way to get your camera gear from A to B. And packing smaller bags like the Hubba Hubba Heiny into another bag is a great way to have flexibility once you're on the road. When you're buying tickets, really consider those hidden fees. You know, like I said, those baggage fees and handling fees and things that a lot of airlines will impose on you can vastly change the price of your ticket, of your trip, in ways that you might not be considering when you're first looking on Kayak or whatever and trying to decide on a price. As photographers, we kind of travel heavy no matter what happens. We're usually bringing more than we need on the road. And so just thinking about all that ahead of time has certainly saved you some money. Again, if you are traveling with larger, oversized stuff for whatever reason, and you are a business, you could try showing your business card and asking for a media rate. Just be kind to the people behind the countertop, and 9 times out of 10, I've had them help me out. Make sure that you pack everything that goes on board the plane with you that is mission critical for your trip. And that includes battery chargers and things like that that you would need if your other bags didn't show up on time. If you're going on a once-in-a-lifetime trip, I hear this every once in a while. People are on the road, they're in Thailand or they're in Europe and their camera breaks on them and they don't quite know what to do. If you are going on a photo-centric trip, if photography is important to you, I think the minimum that you should travel with is 2 camera bodies and 2 lenses and at least 2 SD cards and at least 2 to 4 batteries. Like, that is the minimum that I would get on the road with, even for personal work. The point of the fact is that even if the camera gear is unlikely to break down, there's always present the idea of human error, which could mean leaving a camera behind, having it get stolen, having it get crushed, dropping it, whatever might happen. Any of those things, in conjunction with the fact that the camera could naturally break down for whatever reason, is enough for me to always have a backup camera. So whether you need to go to, one of the rental sites and get a camera sent to you for a week so you could go on vacation and have 2 cameras, or you want to go and find a used camera that is a nice cheap alternative to have as a backup, either one of those is a great way to travel and a great piece of kit to have with you. And it doesn't need to be like as good or better than your current camera. This can be something that is for backup. But the idea there is that if you had to, you could go to that and it wouldn't ruin all of the time and investment that you have put into your vacation and send you home without the images that you don't want. So that's the minimum I travel with. On the way home from any trip, I highly recommend that you separate the images. The first thing that I do, for example, after a wedding, is I download all the images onto hard drives. And if you have not moved to solid state drives have no spinning parts in them. They're about 1/4 the size and are more durable for travel. So I love those. I like the Samsung T5 drives, if you haven't seen those. I'll try to put a link in the description, but those have been awesome for me and nice and fast. But I download those on 2 separate drives, and then I separate them not only among my bags, but among people. Usually I'll take a copy and my wife takes a copy when we're traveling home. A 3rd copy of the photos actually stays in the cameras. And usually our card slot 2 for weddings is JPEGs. And so the entire wedding shoot will fit on a single card. And so those stay in the cameras, and that's my backup when I'm traveling with the pictures on the road. So definitely download, definitely backup, and definitely separate those as you're traveling, and you're really mitigating your risk. A battery bank is mission critical for me because of how much phone use I have when I'm on the road. I just don't want to get stuck somewhere and not be able to use maps or not be able to call an Uber or whatever it might be. So always travel with a battery bank. It can stuff into almost any bag. They come in any size imaginable, but it's a huge help when you're on the road. I try to pack the bodies you notice in all of my camera bags unmounted. One of the things that a tip I got a long time ago was that anytime you have a body mounted to a lens, you're introducing the idea that there could be stress on that mount when you're traveling. So whether you're stuffing it into an overhead bin or under a seat or whatever it might be, I think it's safer to go ahead and have those two things separated. That way you just don't have that risk. If you travel more than like 3 or 4 times a year, I think it would be really smart to go ahead and get your Tsa Precheck. It's $85. It lets you skip the regular line for security. You don't have to take your belt and shoes off and all that kind of good stuff. And it lasts for 5 years. So that has been a huge help for when I'm traveling by myself. And then pack a power strip. If you need to throw that in your check bags. I mean, it's not like it's mission critical, but it certainly is a huge help when you're setting up a mobile office. And then make sure before you leave that you've updated all the software on your laptop, including things like Photo Mechanic, Lightroom, and Photoshop, so that you don't have to do any bulky downloading while you're on the road. This last trip to Chicago, I made the mistake of not having updated my Photoshop, and it wouldn't natively open EM1X files. So I had to spend it actually took overnight for it to download the Photoshop update in the hotel room I was in. So while it wasn't a huge deal, it definitely would have saved myself some time and headache if I had gone ahead and done that before I left. So that's it, guys. This is what I traveled with for my last wedding to shoot both photos and video. 3 bags, 4 cameras, 10 lenses, light stands, tripods, video equipment, microphones, and laptops, and all that stuff. 3 bags, none of them oversized, none of them overweight. All of them fit just exactly where they're supposed to. So I think that's incredible and one of my favorite parts of the Micro Four Thirds system. Those are my travel tips. Hopefully you guys found something interesting in there, something useful. If you guys have tips for me or you want to leave tips for other people, hit me up in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.